Guys, is it just me or did this week absolutely fly by? Anyway, this is the last Israel brief for this week until we meet again on Monday. So if you are new to it, welcome to it. I am Rolene Marks. This is the Israel brief, where my incredible community of Israel briefers from all around the world meet every Monday to Thursday, and we take a look at those top stories making headlines in Israel. And we do this for several reasons. First of all, it's nice just to come together. But second of all, you get the news from the ground in Israel, especially this week when Israel is operating against Hamas terrorists in the Gaza Strip. And as most of the legacy media, including the New York Times, the Washington Post, the BBC, CNN, and Sky News said Israel had shattered the ceasefire. It's just a reminder that when you get the news and the facts on the ground from here, you understand that not only did we not shatter a ceasefire, the phase 1 had come to an end, and phase 2 is still completely up in the air. This is why it is important to get the facts on the ground. You also are probably not hearing very much in your news that it is day 531. There are still 59 hostages that remain captive in the Gaza Strip. We want our people back now. Amongst those are 24 hostages believed to still be alive, and also hostages from places like Nepal. Bipin Joshi, an agricultural student who was taken captive on the 7th of October. There are still the corpses of Thai workers, of Nepalese, of people from all around the world who were murdered by Hamas, and their bodies cruelly still kept captive. We want them back now. This is also the place where you come for your audience questions to be answered, and we have one coming up later in the show. And also every Thursday to find out who is your Mensch and who is your moron, sometimes plural. So without further ado, let's get into the top stories, and we begin with Operation Sword and Strength. This is Israel's offensive against Hamas in the Gaza Strip. Now, the Israeli Air Force has continued to strike Hamas and Palestinian Islamic Jihad targets throughout the Gaza Strip. The ISA, which is the Shabak, and the IDF announced yesterday that Israel will be pushing forward with a limited ground offensive. At the moment, the troops have rolled into the Netzarim corridor and are operating in Beit Lahia in the north of the Gaza Strip. Meanwhile, UNRWA's director Philippe Lazzarini has claimed that 5 UNRWA staff were killed in an Israeli airstrike. And we know from what we have seen throughout the war that UNRWA staff have usually been moonlighting as members of Hamas. So watch this space. We will be bringing you some updates there. A short while ago, Hamas fired 3 rockets from the Gaza Strip towards the center of Israel where I am. 1 was intercepted and 2 landed in empty fields. There was a little bit of shrapnel that landed in the city of Rishon LeZion, not too far away from where I am. So just for anybody keeping score out there, and we're concerned about humanitarian aid, when Israel stopped sending in humanitarian aid a few weeks ago because we said the aid is used for military purposes, well, now at least we've seen where that fuel is going. So Hamas launching 3 rockets towards the center of Israel. They have claimed responsibility for it. Now, just in case there should be sirens, I am in my safe room, and there might be a little bit of disturbance should one go off, but I will continue the broadcast. At about 4 a.m. this morning, the Houthis fired a Palestine 2 missile towards the center of Israel, setting off our sirens and giving us a rude awakening. So if I look slightly exhausted, it is because of the Houthis. The intended target was Ben Gurion Airport, about 10 minutes away from where I live. However, the Israeli Air Force say they intercepted the missile before it entered Israeli territory, but sirens sounded just as per the protocols, and also because we are very, very aware that shrapnel from these interceptions still land in Israeli territory and could cause severe damage as well as kill people as well. So in the last, I'd say, 12 or so hours, we've had 2 bouts of rockets and 2 bouts of sirens from 2 different fronts. Released hostage Eli Sharabi will address the United Nations Security Council a little later today. Eli, who was released after almost 500 days in captivity, and many of you will be familiar with the images of 3 very, very emaciated looking men that were released. One of them was Eli Sharabi. Eli was abducted from his home on Kibbutz Be'eri on the 7th of October. His wife, Leanne, a dual British citizen, and their 2 daughters, Yahel and Noya, along with the family dog, were also murdered. You can read more about them in the account that I shared from Lord Roberts. It is up on our Lay of the Land Facebook page. It is a very, very, very difficult but absolutely necessary read. It's 300 pages of meticulous research with what happened on the 7th of October. Eli, in an interview with Uvda, the news program a couple of weeks ago, spoke about what he endured in captivity. It was an absolutely shattering interview. I think I've shared it to the Lay of the Land page as well. It's in Hebrew with English subtitles, and it is very, very important to bear witness to the stories of our hostages. Eli is going around the world with a campaign to raise awareness for the hostages and to pressure as many people to work towards freeing the last remaining hostages. Eli met with President Trump in the White House along with 8 other former hostages, and also met with British Prime Minister Keir Starmer. And finally, Israel still retains a place in the world's top 10 happiest nations. Israel has slipped from its position last year of number 5 to number 8. All this despite a war, proving that Israelis are still fairly happy with their quality of life living in the Jewish state. And at the top of the list, I think it's for several years in a row, is Finland. Now, I've been to Finland, beautiful country, and listen, if I ate their salmon and drank their water, I'd also be one of the happiest people in the world. So those are top stories making headlines. Let's take a look at the audience question, and it comes from Megan in Cape Town, who asks, Rolene, will Israel let in humanitarian aid again? Megan, the answer is unlikely. As we have seen today, the fuel, the materials let in for aid has contributed possibly to Hamas being able to fire rockets, and not just to the Gaza envelope areas, but towards our commercial center of the country, Tel Aviv, and the cities surrounding that. So it is unlikely that Israel will allow in humanitarian aid again. So I hope that answers your question. And the moment that you've all been waiting for, you guys wait for it every week, I know, because you tell me, it is who is the Mensch and who is the moron. So let's start with the moron first. And this week's moron is the former, now expelled ambassador to the United States from South Africa, Ibrahim Rasool. Rasool, who is a vocal supporter of Hamas, who once boasted about his kafiyeh that he had received signed from the late leader of Hamas, Ismail Haniyeh, and is also a proponent of South Africa's case against Israel at the ICJ, made extremely derogatory comments about President Trump And as I said yesterday, it doesn't matter where you sit on the spectrum with regards to President Trump. You don't insult the sitting leader of any country, especially as a guest in their country, as an envoy, a diplomat, in such a disgusting way. So Ibrahim Rasool, you are our moron of the week. And our Menschs of the week, we have two. This one came in from several people, and I concur. The beautiful, wonderful woman that is Gal Gadot, who became the first Israeli to have a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. We are so proud of her, but also for her advocacy, for her pride in her Jewish, in her Israeli identity, and for telling her 133 million subscribers to her Instagram, despite the horrendous abuse that she receives. And I've seen it with my own eyes, and you can too, that she is Gal Gadot, she is a Jew, and she is an Israeli. And as she said so brilliantly, she said, when your compass is clear, your conscience is clean, and I know what I stand for. And the other Mensch of the week, and this is my choice, goes to Lord Roberts, the eminent historian from the United Kingdom, who led the all-party parliamentary commission and has produced this harrowing and in-depth report on the events of the 7th of October. He's done so to, first of all, give a record. It's meticulous, and he said his intention is to combat the denial and to combat the horrific hatred that has accompanied and that Jews around the world have faced as a result of these attacks. He says that somewhere humanity had just collapsed, and it is important for future generations to bear witness and to have this accurate historical account. So those are our top stories, and before we break for the weekend, I want to wish you guys a wonderful weekend. Shabbat Shalom. And don't forget to check out our website at www.layoftheland.online. Our Facebook page is at Lottle Site. Our YouTube channel is right here at the Israel Brief. So if you like us, please click on that red subscribe button. The more of you who subscribe to our various social media, the more the algorithm shares it with many more people. We are on Instagram at Rolene_Marks, on LinkedIn at Rolene Marks, on X at Lay of the Land 5. And guys, God bless you all. Much love from me to you, and I'll see you all again on Monday. Bye for now.